Hey everybody, welcome back to Dog 101. I'm your host, Nick 101, and this is Leeloo the Loud. I figure she's always popping up in my stories, in the background of my videos, so just to answer all the questions that you didn't ask in the first place, I figured that this could be a quick little video, just a little bit about her origin story, what she looks like. Can you see? Can you look at the camera? I know, you want to cuddle on Daddy. You want to cuddle on Daddy. There she goes. There she is. Oh, there you go. Good girl. All right. That was a good look at the camera. Good job. So, um, that's what she looks like. And right now, she's got her Seresto collar and regular collar on that I mentioned in a previous episode while I have her in shot. I want you to see her very unique paw. I don't know how well you can see that, but see, oh yeah, see right there? That's a good little shot of that. So that's how she came. To this day, we don't know what that was from. So she was a stray, then a shelter, and then another shelter, and then we got her. So we completely, I just guess about her age. Yes, we guess about what that might be that happened to it. On the plus side, oh, your nails are long. Can't believe I showed that on camera. I'm going to take care of that after the video. Um, yeah, just, I mean, I know I've mentioned it before in grooming, but, keeping the nails at a good, length can do so many wondrous things for their health, up to and including their back. So if their, toes or fingernails are too long, then their paw gets a little crooked, and then that screws up the elbow, that screws up the shoulder, that screws up the back, and then boom, you get a dog with a bad back just because you didn't want to trim those nails on a regular basis. And with her, it's a constant thing. There's some dogs that you can get away with never trimming them because they're a miracle dog, the .001 that actually chew their own toenails off. Which if you get one of those, then God bless you. And then there's others that you can get away with just like once a month, maybe doing a trim. With her, it's a weekly thing. Her quicks grow pretty much as fast as the nails do. So to try and keep those dialed back, that means you need to get as close to the quick as you can, and then then they'll recede a tiny bit, and then you get them as close to the quick as you can, and then they recede a tiny bit. It's a nightmare. So letting it go is kind of not an option with her, but yet here we are. I've clearly managed to let it go for a little bit longer than I normally would have preferred to. She could do this all day with me. So that's actually what kind of, you know, I wouldn't say pisses off, my girl, but um, yeah, with Steph, she unfortunately does a wiggle butt and rarely does that. Whereas with me, she's like, I guess this is my life now until Daddy decides to put me down. Big sigh you hear from her. She's like, yep, this is me. I'm just gonna have to settle in and enjoy it. I am gonna put her down a little bit just because she is pretty warm and it is a relatively warm day out. But I just figured that, again, if she's kind of annoying in the background, playing with her toys and all that stuff, well, again, for the dog videos, for the just me shooting the poop with the camera for half an hour to an hour on my me 101s. I figure it just adds to the ambiance. I mean, that literally is my home life. One of the podcasts that I enjoy is Chrissy Chaos, and half the episode is him talking to people that are in the background running around. So, and I just feel that kind of it shows a little slice of his life, and the title of it is Chrissy Chaos. So I mean, it's appreciated. So that's Leeloo, but I am going to sit you down now because I'm getting sweaty. Thank you so much, good girl. Nice, graceful dismount. All right, so yeah, got her roughly around 2 years ago, and she was not the dog that we were going for. So initially, me and my girl were, looking for a, pit bull, an adult pit bull, for multiple reasons. One, we just know that they're notoriously one of the hardest ones to get out of a shelter because they come with a bad reputation. I was a dog trainer, but if at all possible, I'd prefer to get one that is already past all of the, oh, I can't hold my bladder for longer than an hour phases, and hopefully just get right into one that is already an adult, can do bladder control, doesn't show too much signs of, abuse or aggression. A little bit, and I could, work with, but if it's too much, then it's like, well, all right, if I fail, well, I'm not the type to just give up a dog because I failed at doing the training. So that means we would have to pay for a behaviorist, and behaviorists cost like 2,000 an hour or something crazy. So, so we wanted one that uh, was old but not too old. A senior. I mean, we'd like a dog to be able to grow old with, ideally. I mean, if we saw a senior that absolutely stole our heart, then I'm fine with being a hospice family too. But we kind of wanted one that would be able to kind of grow with us. So, 1 to 2 years was kind of what we were shooting for. That's usually about the time that pit bulls get to be big, scary, and their heads weigh almost as much as your whole upper torso. And yeah, so I think we went to two, maybe three shelters, and visited all the pit bulls there. And there's maybe two that we liked, over the other ones. No real like instant, oh, that's the one connections, but there was maybe a couple. Um, we were really kind of striking out at the last place, the one where we found her, because pretty much every dog that we said hi to was only interested in going outside. They were in their cage. We would get them out to say hi and kind of get to know them, and they would have absolutely no interest in saying hi to us. They were just like, I want to go outside, I want to play, which is fine, but it also didn't really give us much of a chance to have a bond. So, meanwhile, the whole time, Leeloo the Loud is staring at us from her pen, and I glance over and I kind of notice it, but she is just really just dialed in, not in the threatening, starey way, because like if a dog does maintain eye contact for a while, just so for them that's considered a challenge, and in this case, she was just very much, doing the head tilt, like, huh, what's going on over there? What are they doing? So she goes to put the last dog away. We happen to glance over at Leeloo, who was X-Ray at the time. So, obviously that name had to change, but, so X-Ray is staring at us, and so we look at each other, and it's just like, well, it's a puppy. She was about six, as best we could tell, she was about 6 months at the time. It's like, well, it's a puppy. There looks like there might be a little bit of pit in there, but it's more of a hound pointer mix, and so we're like, well, that's not really what we came here for, but, I mean, we'd be remiss if we didn't at least say hi. So, we do. So I go to take her out, and so this is our first interaction. So we go to take her out. I start walking towards her kennel, and she immediately knows what's going on. She's just like, oh my God, he's coming to me. He's going to let me out. So she does what any dog does when they're excited. She jumps up against the kennel door. And so I stop and I go, oh, and I back up a little bit. And then she's just like, what? No, I thought you were coming over. So she kind of not jumps off, but so she like goes off of the door and then sits back down again. And I was just like, yeah, that's what I want. So I start walking towards her again. She goes, yeah, he's coming again. And she jumps up, and I was just like, and then I back up again, and she's just like, what the heck? Every time I jump up, I mean, I thought I wanted to show my excitement, but he's just not getting it. So then she sits back down again while she's thinking about it. I'm like, that's right. So it only took her 5 approaches before she was just like, oh my God, okay, so he will continue to approach as long as I'm sitting down. So she was sitting down on the 5th approach. I open up the door, I release her, and she comes out, and immediately I'm like, oh crap, this dog's going to be really easy to train. Like, she got that without any treats, without any words besides and, she was already sitting to be let out of the cage. I mean, this is going to be easy. So she gives me a quick hello, and then runs over to my girl. And then she does that thing where, when they, like, lean against your legs to get pets, as though, like, they're trapping you. So it's like, oh, I'm leaning against you, you can't go anywhere. The kind of lean that I, didn't want my foster dog to do to my grandparents, because they could get easily bowled over. So normally that's something that I don't, usually encourage in a dog, but in this case it was so stinking adorable because she didn't just lean. And there you go. I might need to pause. I'm not sure why she's barking, because I don't think that was for this place. That is one thing I was going to get into, though. I mean, she is a great dog. She does have the occasional, learned behaviors that aren't so great, but pardon me real quick. Oh, it's just UPS. They can leave it at the door. Really, Leeloo? We get packages all the time. I mean, that's one thing that didn't change during the pandemic. Anyway, so I'll get to that barking in a second, but oh, you're ridiculous. Just as I was singing your praises about being easily trained. So yeah. So anyway, so what I was saying is, so she, that's my girl's legs. So she does that like lean, but then she does like a crash dive until she's literally laying on her back to get belly rubs. Like she just like kind of like does a self-contained, barrel roll against the legs so that she's just like belly time. And my girl's going down and petting her, and we're like, okay, thank you. I heard. Thank you, Leeloo. Appreciate it. You can stop. Um, so, you know, she's a super love bug. Really, really into us. We're really into her. So anyway, but that's not who we came for. So we put her back, and so we're like, thank you so much. We have to discuss it and make our decision. And so we're driving home, and so we're like, well, what about Pitbull A? Because I forget all their names by this point. It's been a bit, but so what about Pitbull A? And it's just like, yeah, Pitbull A was all right. Kind of just a little off put or whatever. And so she's like, yeah, Pitbull B. Well, Pitbull B, I think I like better than Pitbull A. So we're talking and talking and talking, and finally, like, it goes quiet because it's obvious that we're just avoiding the elephant in the room. And so what do you think about X-Ray? I know, oh my God, X-Ray. I know that's not the type of dog that we wanted to get. So we were both instantly smitten. I hate stereotypes, but she is absolutely a dog that chose us. I hate all those, who rescued who, but in this case, it was absolutely, she definitely chose us, and we agreed. So we got her, and I was right for pretty much everything, else. She was very easily trainable. I have her waiting at the door, waiting for her food. My girl has done more tricks than I have, which is funny. It isn't, it isn't. It isn't. So it's kind of like how if you're a plumber and you work on pipes all day and you come home and you have a leaky faucet. It's just like it's just one drip every 20 minutes. I'm not really worried about breaking out the tools for a small thing like that. So it's kind of the same thing. It's like I was a trainer all day every day, and so with her, I have her trained to the point of like, oh, that's good enough. The only thing that I still want to work on is that barking. So it's something that she picked up when she was with another dog for a week, so the other dog was the kind that, like people pull up to the driveway. Oh, I'm going to slam myself against the door and howl furiously until you finally get up to the door. And then, so she learned that behavior, so she was like, oh, is that why they feed us? Because dogs always need a job. We hadn't given her a job yet, so she assigned herself the one that the other dog did, which was, oh, I guess we're door barkers. So it was just one of those things where it's just like, oh, great, she picked up that behavior. So it was something that I had just started to work on her with. We have a couple of neighbors that when they visit are very patient and, would be willing to, knock on the door and wait for us to take care of her barking first before opening it. Just they knew ahead of time that it's just like, it might be about 5 minutes before we can actually get to the door. We're trying to work on this barking thing. And they're like, hey, that's cool, man. So we just started to work on that, and then boom, pandemic. Her and I get furloughed, she gets laid off. We're stuck in the house. We're encouraged not to, go visit people and stay indoors, which now we realize is dumb. Like we could have been outside enjoying all that good weather the whole time that we were at the house, but we were trying to be good. When we go out, we do our masks and stuff, and she obviously wasn't allowed to come. So, you know, we didn't really have any visitors for a full year. There was no way to try and work with um, you know, barking at the door for visitors. Amazon wouldn't knock; they would just leave the package outside the door. So, we weren't able to deal with it. So now we're coming out the other end of it, and we'd like to go back into practicing. But that is definitely something that she very much still, anytime because it's extremely rare now that somebody actually, comes by. So she'll bark her fool head off, even if it's somebody that she knows, like the neighbor down the street. I mean, she's seen him plenty of times. She instantly recognizes him and his voice and his appearance. And yet, even when he's inside saying "Hi, Leeloo," then she still will continue barking for about 5 minutes, and then it's over. And then instantly, it's their family. So that's one thing that I do love about her is that she is so accommodating that she would make a great foster dog, or like whenever friends come over and stuff. Oh, so you're part of the pack now. So like if it was like a dog, she'd just be like, "Oh, okay, I guess the dog's part of the family now. Oh, I guess the dog's gone. I guess, all right." Well, she'll look around, like if somebody visited for a weekend, or if a dog came over for playtime, you know, she'll check the bathroom even though she doesn't know even though she knows they're not in there. She'll do that for maybe an hour after they leave, but then after a while she just forgets about it. She's just like, "All right, I'll go back to playing with my toy, I guess, if there's nothing else that's going to present itself." So that's cool. She's so go with the flow. I mean, she's a great car dog because she just for the most part will lay down. If it's a long trip, she'll just like lay down. When you come to a stop, she'll look up and be like, "Are we there, or is it a stop sign?" Okay, it's a stop sign. Go back to laying down. So that's awesome. But yeah, man, that barking is about the only kind of a bummer, and it's hilarious that I was going to bring it up anyway, but then she did that. So, again, I hate stereotypes, but you know, dealing with the pandemic was rough, but we got her kind of just in time because, again, I hate that whole who rescued who thing. I would hate it on bumper stickers. I would just absolutely hate it. And then I realized that, yeah, I mean, there was a spell there until I kind of started to get used to it, where I was a little, depressed and not sure what was going on, and you know, found myself just kind of, waking up in bed, playing on the phone until my back started to hurt. So then I would go onto the couch and then play with my phone, and then eat something, and then go back to playing on the phone. I mean, it was a bad cycle. So literally, the only outside that I would do would be to take her for walks, and she really helped keep me getting some sunlight and getting my legs stretched and stuff. I doubt that I would have done as much if it weren't for her. So that definitely was good, but she definitely was not a pandemic puppy. I can't stand that I called it that. All the shelters were empty during the pandemic, and then once it was over, now they're flooded again because people just wanted them while they were bored and had nothing to do. And then when they get back to their regular lives, it's like, this is not a rent-a-car. Like, this is an actual life. So, yeah, she was always going to be permanently with us, and obviously that hasn't changed. But yeah, we've been thinking about maybe doing foster thing with her. That's the great thing about her, is that she gets along with literally every dog, almost to the point of it being to a fault, because um, the shelter that we got her from, so her second shelter, well, she runs a shelter, and obviously she's going to have her own pack of dogs, and her pack of dogs is clearly the ones that she was never able to adopt out, so she just kept. So we're talking Rottweilers, we're talking pit bulls, we're talking big, big, big mouthed, lots of energy, big dogs, and that was the pack that she was running with, and at the time, I mean, she couldn't have been what, 40 pounds, 39. She weighed 39 pounds when we got her. So 39-pound dog, keeping it, holding her own with the big guys. Some of them, triple digits as far as their weight goes. So she's always been great with big dogs. Little dogs, though, if it's a puppy, she has that instinct that all dogs do, where it's just like, okay, it's a brand new one of us. We got to be gentle because we could break it, and that's the end of the species. So everybody just, kid gloves with the puppy. But if it's a tiny adult one, especially one that might have like a little bit of attitude to it. I mean, she doesn't even like do the butt sniff courtesy thing first. She just goes right for the playtime with the paws up, and that can be a little overwhelming for some dogs. So I mean, that's about the only issue that she has. I mean, we take her to daycare, at least once a week, and she has apparently no issues playing with that group. So I don't know if they parcel them out so that they're just like, okay, clearly we're going to throw her with the big dog play group and then the little dog play group, or if it's just all a big mess and she just gravitates towards the ones that can match her energy. I have no idea. I don't stick around to see it. That's the whole point of daycare. I got to get to work. So that's so yeah, near as we can tell, she's a hound pointer mixed with a little bit of pity in her. Don't care to do a 23andMe unless maybe it's the one where it'll say like what potential health issues she might have. I guess that exists now, and that's useful. And obviously on paperwork, just because there are still some, places, that do discriminate against breeds. We usually just put her as a hound pointer mix and just leave the pity out of it, unless it's obviously a fellow dog lover, and they're just like, we think there is, but so that's kind of Leeloo in a nutshell. Oh, yeah, so. One of the things that's kind of unique to her that I don't see too many dogs doing is she kangaroos. And what I mean by that is, so I don't know if you ever saw the Eddie Murphy Dr. Dolittle, where the Gilbert Gottfried dog is going, throw the ball, 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 jumping up and down, and he's like, I want you to think of something else. He's like, just throw the ball, just jumping straight up in the air. Well, that's something that she can do, but she's a 50-pound dog, and so she has legs. That means that when she does the kangaroo, she's coming up pretty much to head height. So she's good about not like jumping up into you unless it's somebody new, and then she's like, you don't know the rule yet." But she knows she knows better than to try and jump up onto either mom or I. So when she does that, it's pretty impressive because she'll jump like straight up in the air, almost head height. We call it kangarooing. I'm sure that there's an official word for it because, like, for instance, with guinea pigs, when they do the similar thing, it's called popcorning. Obviously not head height, but when guinea pigs are excited, they pop up. And that's something that she does that I don't see too many dogs doing, at least not to the height and frequency that she does. So that's definitely one of her character traits. Besides that whole barking at the door thing, she's not a vocal dog, really. I mean, she does a little bit of whining, like every once in a while, like what dog doesn't? But that's really about it. She is an absolute sucker for beds. So even if the wood stove's going, or if it's a hot summer day, and it's clear that she would be a lot happier on the hardwood floor as opposed to the carpet. She's still on her bed, like splayed out, like half on, half off. But she just loves comfort so much that she will refuse to give up her comfort in order to not be overheated. It's ridiculous, but um, yeah, I mean, I don't want to. I get into it enough when it comes to her because I always like to tell stories about like how what we did with her on the weekend, on Monday podcasts. So I'm sure that plenty of this stuff will come up. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to share my origin story about her with you. And did you gonna say bye? You say bye. Good girl. It's a good girl. Oh, that's a good girl. Oh, that's a good girl. That's a good girl. It's a good girl. Now normally we don't do this, but now she's gonna be confused because she's just like, but you don't let me do this. Yeah. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. Oh, that's a good job. That's a good job. Thank you, kisses. Really gentle kisses, too. Thank you. That was a good girl. Say bye. Really gentle kisses. She's not like one of those that just, slobbers half your face. She'll just give the occasional gentle lick and then call it good. And that is plenty fine with me. I don't know. I don't need to, make out with my dog in order for them to express their affection. So not having to clean my face off afterwards. Although that was one nice thing about when I did go back to work, working at the pet store. During the pandemic with the masks on, I could get all the sloppy kisses that they wanted to give because you're just making the mask wet. And if it gets bad enough, I have a backup one to switch it out with. So that was actually kind of nice not having to, like, okay, I got to get a wet wipe and get all the saliva off of my face. But yeah, so that's my doggy. That's my intro to Leeloo is probably what I'm going to call this one. But yeah, now you've met. All right, bye.